said that when he made threats against Gal Gadot because they clashed on the set of Justice League,
Hmm.
he said that he was not using flowery language, and because English was not Gal Gadot's first language, she misunderstood what he was saying.
Oh my God.
What? Gal Gadot
Mm-mm.
has since come back and said, "Yeah, I know full well what I was, what you were saying there." So,
Right.
so I
Oh my
open up this
God.
discussion, but before I open up discussion, let me first introduce our guest, um, Tony Cade, who is the owner of Challenge. Is it Challenge Comic?
Challenges.
Comic
It's
Challenges
challenges,
Comic.
games, and comics.
Yes, sir. In North Decatur, in the North Decatur Mall. Thank you for joining us today, Tony.
Oh,
Please,
I'm glad to be here.
anyone take the anyone, please take the floor. I am so angry at Joss Whedon right now. I don't know what to do with myself.
It's
I would
funny
like
though.
our guest to
Go
take a crack at it first.
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead,
you're gonna
Rob.
put me on the spot right away, huh?
ahead.
Okay. See, the bad thing about this is that I want to make a good impression on everybody, but
Hey man,
I
just do your
can't
thing.
sit
Just be you.
here and not tell you how I actually feel about certain things. All
Mm,
right. It's one of those situations where I have no problem separating the person from their acts or their creations. You
okay.
know, like I said, I'm not gonna stop enjoying watching Firefly or Buffy or Angel, you know, because I have a problem with Josh Whedon, because there were a lot of other people involved with those shows, and why should I
Mm,
penalize them for
okay.
something that Josh Whedon did? Okay, and just like there's other people out there who have done very bad things,
Mm,
but do we ignore the positive things that they did? My thing is and stuff is like, yes, you are bad. You need to be punished, but you did something good and positive. That still doesn't take away from the good and the positive that you did.
mm.
Interesting.
Okay. That's a valid point. Come on, Rob.
I always had this problem. We mentioned this before when we talked about a few. Well, it's been a while now, but we talked about Robert E. Howard and we talked about H.P. Lovecraft, the same kind of things.
Hmm.
So it's really hard for me to separate the art from the artist. However, I'm not crazy. I know I know good work when I see it, when I read it, when I hear it. And it's just unfortunate that, I have the realization that, these people are very talented. However, you know, they have some personality flaws, and that's putting it mildly. So, um, as Tony mentioned before, there were other people involved. And so there's other people who had to eat. There's other people who had to put in work as well. And I wouldn't want to punish them either. I think I just have a really rough time with that sometimes because I'll look at it and I'll think about it and I'll say, if I was standing right in front of this dude, what would he say about me? And I'm
Mm,
saying, and I'm telling other people, hey, check this work out. You know what I mean? That's the one
hmm.
thing that's the one thing that I have a problem with. However, I do recognize talent and I do recognize accomplishments.
Okay. Answer Nicole, you got anything?
It is kind of hard to separate the two, and being like honest about it. I heard Steve Harvey put it this way when they were talking about, for instance, R. Kelly, right? R. Kelly, his music was the soundtrack to our college days. Put it this way, like say when we was in college, we just completely enjoyed pretty much everything he put out. And like even today, when you listen to his music, you listen to it fondly until the reality of certain things creep in. And you're like, oh yeah, what I'm saying, you start remembering some of the stuff he's done and blah blah blah. Like
Oh, that
Tony
sounds dope.
said,
Oh shit, he's a pedophile. I forgot.
yeah, right. It's like, and seriously, it's almost like that. It's what I'm saying. You sit back, like you look at Bill Cosby. I'm like, yeah, I love the Cosby Show and stuff, but if he did what he did, he needs to burn in jail. You know what I'm saying, type of thing. It's like it is so, I'm just saying, it's kind of hard sometimes because you're going to say the good with the bad and so on. But my thing is that there are times when we
I think
Uh-oh.
we lost. Yeah.
She went out.
Well, actually, I was trying to avoid using the name Bill Cosby because it was definitely something that was in my head. Um, but it's one of those things and stuff. As somebody who grew up with like Fat Albert
hmm
and saw
Right.
Bill Cosby as like one of
right.
the leading black men on TV, one of the few that I could actually
Right.
Yeah.
see on TV
hmm
and see the power that he had and see that he could bring something like the Cosby Show to life,
Yep.
and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he was giving millions of dollars to all these different colleges is like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
the man has serious character flaws and did some very bad things, but
Mm-hmm.
look at all the positive things he did too. You know, my whole
The
thing
thing,
is that he helped shape my childhood.
my thing is,
Go
the
ahead,
only
Nicole.
other thing that I think about is the fact that when we sit here and we see these people who, like, say, for instance, Harvey Weinstein and all these people that, yeah, they may have been backers to wonderful things, you know what I'm saying, movies and shows and stuff. But, there are other people that could benefit from being in the spotlight too. That would be at least given their chance, you know what I'm saying, to be able to be front and center as opposed to continuing to support all the time those people who are doing something that's against, women, men, whatever it is, and such. You know what I'm saying? Like there's other up and comers that you can sit there and we can put our backing behind and let them get up and hopefully, they continue to have a success record. But we know somewhere maybe out of 5 people, 2 of them might fall. Who's to say? With whatever character flaws they may have. My thing is that it's kind of hard to separate it, but I guess in my mind, sometimes it's kind of like, when do you stop supporting that person? You know what I'm saying? Because the more you continue to support that person, you keep that person on a pedestal to continue doing what they're doing that is incorrect or inappropriate and things like that. And that's kind of sort of the impasse that I'm at in a way. I'd rather give someone new an opportunity to be able to get on that pedestal of putting out great work.
Well, now that brings up an interesting point because when we watch Firefly or Buffy, or when we listen to the remix to Ignition, Hot and Fresh Out the Kitchen, or
Right.
or we're listening to or watching or taking part in any of these activities, we're actually paying these people.
Yes. Hmm.
So I get that there are other people involved, but I can't help but feel squirmy watching like the Nevers now, knowing that he was hitting on Charisma Carpenter, and then when she was pregnant on Angel, he asked her if she was going to keep it because he didn't like her being fat. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
Hmm.
that the aura of that person is just
Hmm.
like seeps in. I feel dirty. I hate to
Hmm.
sound like a teenage girl, but I feel dirty when I watch them.
But you see too,
So,
but the thing is though, is like with that whole thing, when you continue to support, and that's why I'm saying there's certain moments where you kind of have to pull back and you continue to support that gives the next person who may not be, who may have the same character issues as that person, feel like, yeah, I could put out some good work and just kind of continue going down the same path as whoever that other person was. And
so
we the ones that have the dollar, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. We're the
right,
ones
right.
paying for all of that. Go ahead.
But
Well,
okay. So let me look. Let me talk about. Excuse me, one second, Tony. But let's put it in this context. Do I continue to? Now we're talking about the past. We're talking about the '90s when none of us, the general public,
Hmm.
didn't know about Joss Whedon, and
Hmm.
back in the day, we didn't know that R. Kelly. Well, we did kind of know what R. Kelly was doing because the clues were there. We just weren't paying
Well,
attention.
hold up. This thing about the
But
Justice League is like last year.
Yeah, yeah.
We always knew what R. Kelly
but
was. He made
but
look. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. Voice of God out.
but but here's the point I want to make. Do we continue with new stuff? If R. Kelly drops a record right now, do we buy it? If whatever Joss Whedon product comes about, do we watch it? Because like I said, The Nevers is brand new, and the second half of the first season is supposed to be coming on Netflix, or is HBO Max, whatever, sometime soon. Do we continue watching
Well,
or
hasn't he been
listening,
removed
knowing
from it?
what we know? He's
Hasn't he
been
been
removed
removed
from it,
from it?
but I mean, he's removed from it, but it's his show. I mean, it's Joss Whedon. All one episode in, and you're just like, okay, this is a Joss Whedon production. You could
The
tell that he
royalties
had
is
his
going
hands
to
in it.
him, right? Like we're still paying for his, like the whenever we
Yeah,
watch
this is
it,
a
we're
Mutant
still
Enemy
paying
production,
him
which is his production
for
company.
his right
Right.
and
Well,
so on.
that's
I mean,
actually one
I
of
don't
the other
know.
things and stuff too. What about everybody else who's making money from it?
Yeah,
Because
but
we're trying to boycott him, all the actors and stuff aren't going to get money. It's like, when certain shows aren't aired or when certain shows are aired or in reruns, all right, the people who act in the shows get royalty checks. So
Right.
we're also stopping them from not making their money. Or it's like you can go with something here, like here in Atlanta. There was, one of the board members of Dragon Con was
Hmm.
convicted of being a pedophile. And so then everybody wanted to boycott Dragon Con as a
Right.
whole. Okay. And I'm just like, okay, there's a whole heck of a lot more people besides this one person that's
Right.
involved with Dragon Con that you're punishing because of this person who has been removed from power. Okay.
Yeah, he
And
has
they
like
were able to
nothing to do with any
separate
of
and
that.
pay him off and get him out of it. But do you
Mm.
still, you know, boycott Dragon Con?
well, let me
Luckily, the
ask you
answer
this.
for that was no.
And see, well, put it like this. Like for instance, what you're saying there. There's certain ways in which you can still support I don't know, I guess it's the way it's presented. For instance, I was hearing about that whole thing with the Duggar family, where they got the 21 kids and all that kind of stuff, and the brother is basically he's assaulted his sisters and everything and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's tons of people associated that was with that program, but now that they understand the power that this family had because they was drawing it in, you have to be able to turn it, you know what I'm saying, stop the support and able for them to be able to put on possibly something else. It doesn't mean that everybody involved in a production is going to lose a job or something. They can go on to something different and such. I think you do, to some degree, you have to send a message to let them know that this is unacceptable. Now, it doesn't always affect everyone involved. So, say for instance, with Dragon Con, if they remove the person that's doing this stuff and everything, and they put someone else that's reputable in place and such, and everybody can still continue working, to me that's a win-win, you know what I'm saying, type of thing. But say for instance the thing with like on TLC when they was doing the Duggar family, they just need to take that shit off the TV and get rid of the family. We are, but I'm saying they're getting paid from us, the entire family, you know what I'm saying. And to me that's a different, it's like a certain way in how you can sit there and control the reins and how it plays out. I'm not going to support TLC if they keep that crap on TV. Dragon Con, get rid of the person that's doing this, that, and the other thing. Everybody else doesn't have to lose their job. You can find someone else who's the head of whatever that can sit there and continue. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting this product out every year.
Yeah.
That's not part of that. So that's what I mean. There's certain things in which we have control of that you have to sit back and be like, you know what? I'm not supporting it at all until you just get rid of the situation. Or like your suggestion, Tony, that if that person is gone, guess what? That's a win-win for everybody. Send his ass to jail, get somebody new, and you just keep it moving. I think we're in control of being able to write the narrative to some degree if people would recognize the power they have of their own dollar. It is really what happens.
So basically, Auntie
Nope.
Nicole, you're saying speak with your wallet.
Yes, you very much can. I mean, think about it. If the people didn't protest this guy from Dragon Con, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, or have an issue with it, or recognize that this is going to be bad press for the entire event, then you continue in to support him and the event and such. You have to be able to say, you know what, I'm not going to support you until you get rid of this person. Everybody else doesn't have to be affected because you always have an opportunity of having someone else in charge to be able to cover that. But say for instance, even when we watch these things on TV and so on, like I was talking about the TLC program, TLC knows they will lose viewers and everything if they do not get this show off of TV. who's going to support a child molesting family or whatever the heck the situation is as such. And they did just that. They literally scrubbed. You can't even find the program online nowhere. Okay, that's how serious they took that. And that is the power that we have with stuff like that.
You know, I'm sorry, but I'm suffering from PTSD because Auntie Nicole going on that rant in that bathrobe, sitting on that couch. I felt like I was
I'm
back
not
in
in the
Arkansas at my
bathroom.
grandmama's house.
I'm in my
I was
I'm in
like,
my
oh
grandma
shit.
sweater. I'm in my
I was like,
grandma
oh shit.
sweater.
Grandma, I won't do it no more, I promise. But she was gonna talk to me for an hour and tell
Oh
me straighten
God.
my shit out. Oh, I
Yeah.
don't want to go to church. Oh, you gonna
Yep.
sit here and listen to me? And oh man. So
I
yeah,
know you won't do it no more.
but yeah, right. So but Auntie
Oh
Nicole,
God.
that's cool. So me personally, I still squirm. I don't know if I can continue watching this stuff, but I mean, like you said, Tony and Rod and Nicole, there are so many other people who are affected by the misdeeds
Mm-hmm.
of one,
Yeah.
but that one man is the driving force behind that
The whole
that
thing. Yeah.
particular piece of media that we consume. So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, we can go to hell. So anyway, let's go to our special guest. Once again, for those who are just joining us, we are joined today by Tony Cade, the owner of Challenges Games and Comics in the North DeKalb Mall. Give it up for Mr. Tony Cade. Welcome to the show,
Yay.
sir.
Thank you,
We we,
guys.
we don't have enough money for a studio audience, so it's just three people applauding, and
On the
hopefully
applause
the two
box.
people who watch the show religiously. So, Tony, I have to ask, a comic book shop. What was the Did you when you were a kid, did you grow up saying, I'm gonna own me a comic book shop?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go that far. I actually it wasn't even my idea to actually have a comic book and gaming store. It was actually a friend of mine, Tim Cummings, who came to me and said, "Hey, I want to have a comic book shop." But at the time, he had already sold off all of his comic books, and
Mm,
I still had my collection. So he said basically, "Hey Tony, come with me and stuff, and you could be like a silent partner, and we use your back issues, and we start a comic shop." Strangely enough, at the time that he approached me about it, I was actually a wedding photographer at the time and was doing photography full time, and then there's also bartending part time. So, it was never my idea in the beginning to have, you know, a comic book and gaming store. And like I said, we started it back in like 1994. And like I
mm.
said, this is what I'm doing now for a living.
Nice.
Nice. That's
We've kind of like moved
spectacular.
from being a comic shop. At this point, I pretty much consider us like a pop culture store.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So also you founded Terminus Media. Tell us a little bit about that too.
Well, Terminus Media was a group that was basically started in the back room of my shop over 10 years ago. Uh, I basically had classes going on and group meetings at my store. One of them was an art class, and the other one was a screenwriters get together workshop. And so we basically
Okay.
had the idea of like, hey, why don't we get these two groups together and produce an anthology comic book? And part of the challenge was is that I believe it was like Brian Stelfreeze was the artist that I was talking to, and he was basically saying, a good thing for writers is if a writer can tell a story in 8 pages, then he can tell a story in anything. And so that's what we decided to set out to do. We started by doing an anthology book where each writer had to tell a full story with setup, conflict resolution, and with a grand argument and controlling idea, and do it within 8 pages. And so we basically
Mm.
got with the artists that were in the art class, and we produced our first book.
So you have is it that do you still have the anthology books, or do you have, like, I see the if people at home see the Fox Chronicles as our background, what is the expansion of Terminus Media right now?
Well, actually, Terminus Media has changed a lot since those beginning times. Together as a
Hmm.
group, we had grown to the point and stuff where we're doing like contract work for like corporations like Nitto Tire, the Center for Puppetry Arts. We were doing stuff, for the CDC. We were producing a series of motion comics for them on AIDS and HIV awareness, and we pretty much got to the point like that, that performance group where everybody is really good together as a group. Then all of a sudden you start like drifting apart. And so, the next thing you knew, all of us are like kind of like doing our own thing, working on our solo careers. And since I'd actually had pretty much stepped away from Terminus because I was like, editor in chief, functioning as editor in chief at the time, I had a couple of our artists that used to work with Terminus approach me and say that they wanted to do a story with my Fox character. And so I said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do something a little bit different. And that's when I created the character of Autumn Fox. And, we pretty much went on from there. I put a team together and I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And I'm going to try to make this, the best story that I could possibly make it with the resources, at my disposal. Try to take things up a
Nice.
level. Because that's one of the things and
Hey,
stuff about owning a comic book shop. I've got my my research team comes in my store every Wednesday picking up new stuff. So I know what kind of stuff they like. And so I'm trying to create something that's going to be able to tell like a really good story, can teach a little something, and entertain.
Nice.
cool. I have a question real quick. This artwork, this is Marcus Williams, is it not?
That is correct.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of his. I'm beginning to know his artwork now when I look at it immediately. This guy does really incredible work, and I see him like at almost every con I've been to. He's a really hardworking artist too. Is he one of the people that's one of your? Is he one of your on your team of artists? Is he on your team? He's working with you on all of this.
Well, no, not the entire book. Um,
Okay,
the book that he's doing full time is Tuskegee Airs.
right.
All right, which is
Yeah,
the book that
and I
he's
have the
doing
first
with
three issues
Greg
of that one.
Burnham.
Hmm.
Right, and there's only 4 issues out, so they're having
I
a
need
hard
one
enough
more.
time getting out regular issues of their own book. So I definitely can have Marcus working on mine.
Okay.
He's too
So,
busy of a man, and like I
oh,
said, they do conventions like you say just about every weekend. They are out of
Wow.
town making that money.
right. So,
That's
how
good.
hard is it to find your audience? I mean, I know you say you have your target audience coming in every Wednesday buying books and you get feedback, but like, how do you just take your idea and say to hell with it? I'm going to take my idea and run with it, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, kiss my ass. How do you how do you make the product consumable?
Oh well, that's one of the things and stuff we went with Kickstarter, because with Terminus we pretty much learned, we went out there and we produced a book and we were going to conventions and we were spending all this money on travel, on tables, on
Mm,
hotels, feeding everybody, and you're not making enough money doing that. At
Right.
least we weren't making enough money doing that. Selling our books, to cover the cost most of the time. That's why with the Fox Chronicles, I decided that this would be my very first Kickstarter project. I'd actually assisted other people with doing Kickstarters, but I'd never
mhm,
done one, myself. And so with this one, I pretty much took what I learned from other people's Kickstarters and was like, okay, I've got some good artwork, I've got some good stories. I'm gonna bring in Robert Jeffrey, who is a known, indie, commodity that people recognize his name. They know he produces good work. I'm gonna get me a team of artists together and we're going to make something that's going to impress people, even though I don't have a track record of doing
mhm,
Kickstarters. The fact that I can put together this team and I can give you a good story outlay with this great artwork where I'm showing you my variant covers, I'm showing you my interior art, you know I'm showing you a character that I feel needs to be represented more in comics. and then I pretty much just put it out there. We promoted it on social media, let people know that the Kickstarter was coming up, and I think we did pretty good for the first Kickstarter. We got almost 400 backers, and we were able to raise like $11,000.
You
Nice.
say you had a
Oh wow.
Kickstarter video. You have a video with
No,
the Kickstarter promoting it?
oh yeah. Well, everybody, let me just put it out there. If you were going to do a Kickstarter, part of your Kickstarter needs to be a video, basically introducing yourself and showing people the product that you're going to put out. You know, People watch videos, especially if they're short, concise, and to the point. And if you can
Gotcha.
make it so that it looks good and so that it is entertaining, people will respond to it.
So
And I
let's
had to actually do the video in the middle of COVID, so it was one of those things and stuff where I had to
Oh wow.
get a camera person in that wasn't worried about getting
You're
infected,
right.
and we basically did it in like one shoot. It's like I just gave my spiel and put it out there.
let's take a look at that video.
Oh, do we have to? No. Me. I'm director of the Atlanta Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo, and I'm also owner of Challenges Games and Comics. If this corner looks a little familiar to you, it's because yes, you did see it in season 2 of Cobra Kai. But that's not why I'm here to talk with you, even though it is a really interesting story. I'm here to talk to you about my new Kickstarter project called the Fox Chronicles. The Fox Chronicles is a coming-to-age story that spans about 100,000 years. And I know most of you guys like your space battles, you like your big fight scenes, and we're not going to disappoint you on those things. But what our story is mainly about is giving knowledge, along with dealing with issues that deal with families and friends, and how to survive in a world that's not too far removed from our own. These stories that I want to tell are stories that I think that adolescents, adults, and kids will all be able to get into. So that's the reason I'm coming to you today on Kickstarter. I feel really great about this fantastic team that I put together, and I need you guys, to help me get these books into your hands, because I think you're going to be really happy.
My name is Robert Jeffrey II, and I am the series writer for the Fox Chronicles. First and foremost, I want to start off by saying thank you for even giving our project the time of day. You have no shortage of options to choose from on Kickstarter alone or at your local comic book store, and to give us a chance to promote our work to you is huge. It is not taken for granted. Secondly, when you pledge for this book or when you purchase this book, you are buying something which started off as a brainchild of a comic book store owner down here in Georgia, but it's turned into something much, much bigger. We have put together a science fiction, action, adventure story mixed with a bit of social commentary, which speaks to some of the issues of our world today, featuring a heroine which, more often than not, is overlooked, in the pages of many of the comic books that we buy, nowadays. So, on a variety of fronts, I think that you will enjoy picking up this book or reading this book. But at the end of the day, simply put, we just want to say thanks, for giving us the time of day, as I said before, and for checking out the Fox Chronicles. Thanks again, and I guess happy Kickstarter.
Nice.
That is dope.
Very good. Very good.
That is dope,
Nice.
man.
I like it.
I like that. So, okay, I have to ask this. The question came to my mind, and I have to ask this. Um, I've been watching recently the guy with the Black Sands entertainment campaign.
Manuel Godoy.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, how do you see your journey kind of parallel to his, or what do you think about the way that because he comes off as like a straight salesman. He's out there like Stan Lee promoting his stuff, and just as someone who's kind of walking that same path, what do you think about how he's doing what he's doing?
Well, apparently what he's doing is working. He was able to go out there and stuff, and produce the books, get a sample animation done, and then was able to get on the show. Like I said, I get phone calls all the time with people wanting to come because I have like an indie, section here in the store that's actually, pretty big. And people keep asking me, do I carry, the Black Sands comic? Unfortunately, I don't. I actually reached out to them a few times about getting their comic here in my store, but they never responded.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why not. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I just he seems looking at his stuff and looking at your stuff. No, not throwing any shade on him, but your stuff seems a little bit more genuine. You know what I mean? He's like that Stan Lee Excelsior type cat out there, just running around and doing what he's doing. But no, I think what you're doing is fantastic, man. Okay, I have to ask because I am a frustrated comic book creator myself. How long from start to finish does it take to create something like the Fox Chronicles? Just a single issue, like between printing and the ideas, getting pen to paper, getting the script to the artist. How long does it take to get that process going?
Okay, that pretty much depends on who your artist is and how busy your artist is, and whether or not you've
Okay,
blocked off time with your artist for it. I would basically say that, you know, even as an independent creator, you should be able to get a comic book uh, from script to finished product into the hands of the people. You can get it done in like 3 months.
okay,
Especially, if you're doing something that's only like, 22 to 30 pages.
okay, okay. So it's
My
the
thing is
art
and
is the
stuff is that
longest
with the
part.
art team and stuff that I had because of the talent I was using, I was constantly getting my people poached by the larger independent companies. They were
Wow.
getting,
Oh wow.
where, Image and Heavy Metal Magazine and,
Hmm.
Dynamite and IDW were constantly, recruiting my staff.
Wow.
When, like, well, hey, I got you booked here to do the Fox Chronicles, but Dark Horse just called you up wanting you to do the last alien story they're gonna do. You know, so we gotta put behind because both my colorist and my original illustrator were getting poached by everybody, to work on their projects.
Wow.
Wow. So when
So it
something like
makes me
that
kind of
happens, do
feel
you just
good
have to
because
wait?
apparently I put together a really good team
I was
because
going to
Yeah.
say
everybody else
because
was
clearly
beating
you
me.
know what you're doing, and they recognize the talent, and it's just that you got to be able to keep the people. It's terrible,
I guess
dude.
it would be
So
like,
is
hey,
it?
I'm trying to go into the recording studio, and I got my producer all set up and ready to go. Then all of a sudden, he gets a phone call, from Two Chains, and I'm just like, oh well, yeah, he will completely forget about me and go work with Two Chains. I'm gonna have to wait till he finishes with Two Chains first.
Two Chains will have
Mm-mm.
to wait.
So
Jay-Z may be another story.
so in an instance like that, do you just have to wait, or do you try and go out and find another artist, or how does that work?
Well, that's one of the things and stuff that I actually had a problem with. I had to make that decision. And I already was like, okay, we've already got pages done. Okay, I have a certain level that's already been established that my colors are going to look this good, my illustrations are going to look this good. I have to maintain all of that level because that's what I've already shown people. And so I had to wait
Okay.
until they finished doing the stuff for the big boys and then put them in like, fast forward mode, to get my project finished.
Man, who knew that the comic book industry was cutthroat like that? Man,
Oh yeah,
and they can just come in and just be like, "Yeah, come on in and do my stuff," and forget the
big
hell
Could
with
you
time.
them.
not?
Handle
Could
my
you not
business
have
first.
like say, let's say you have a artist, and then let's say that person gets pulled away for whatever reason, but you can have another artist that has a similar style and so on like that. Could you not do something like that as keeping a backup or so on, or no? Or is it like a contract
You
type of situation?
Well, like I said, you could do something like that, but like I said, the problem is that each artist basically has like their style.
Right.
All right, like we were
Mhm.
able to go in and find colorists that could ape the original colorist style. And if you looked at the pages, it would be kind of hard for you to tell when we were using our main colorist versus when we had somebody else come in. But for the illustration, there just wasn't going to be another option.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. So
Mm.
okay. So you got
And it's one
your
of the things and stuff where it's
team
like
line.
I was all about the quality of this project.
Mhm.
You
Of
know,
course. Of course.
people say being late is bad, but I still wanted to produce because I've already produced comic books. I produced series of comic books. My whole thing with this one was to produce the best looking comic that I have ever produced before. That's
So
why I
do you
made
have
sure
more
that
projects?
everybody all the way down to my letterer was on point.
Right. Right. Of course. So do you have other comics that you have coming down the pipe, or how are you? Or are we just dealing with Fox Chronicles right now?
Yeah, we're just doing Fox Chronicles right now and stuff. We're in the process and stuff of working on the next issue. Because like I said, the one that we did right here because it was like the introduction of the character and also getting to the storyline, which is actually a pretty serious storyline that we're going to be telling. Uh, we actually did 30 pages for the first issue, and then
Mm.
because during the Kickstarter we promised an 8-page additional story if we reached like $10,000. And of course, knowing that, all of a sudden everybody started flooding in more to make sure they could get that
Nice.
extra 8 pages in the book.
Right.
Nice.
So we
Nice.
actually wound up with like a 40-page book. You know,
Right.
which I was
Stretch
really happy
goals,
about.
man.
Stretch goals.
Mhm.
And like I said,
That's
getting that,
fantastic.
all of a sudden it's like it was something that wasn't originally planned, but then when you put it as a stretch goal, then all of a sudden you had to make sure that those 8 pages got done.
Absolutely. Sounds fun.
You
So okay,
definitely need
we
artist
had
colors for that too.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. We had Kevin Grievous on the show last week, and I posed this question to him, and I'll pose the question to you too. Say that you're an aspiring comic book writer, artist, whatever. Is it how would they, or would you be interested in them coming to you trying to expand the universe, or do you encourage them to go do their own thing, get their own publishing, do their own comic book? Because uh, I posed that question to Kevin Grievous, and he was like, "No, I ain't taking no new stuff from nobody because I'm just trying to get my stuff. I'm trying to get my stuff out there." And, and I understand, it's his comic company, it's his books, and he wants his characters on the big screen.
Right.
So it's
Right.
it's a process that he's trying to get to a particular point. So where do you see your comics going, or are you interested in other people bringing their properties to you?
Well, like I said, for me personally, I had stepped away from the whole producing indie comics thing. And it was because of the
Okay.
fact that artists came to me and said that they wanted to do, projects for me with my character that I decided, to get back and actually produce something. But, the whole thing and stuff of when we were having Terminus Media was to basically, get together, work as a team, work as a tribe, you know, work as a tribe. Yeah, it's making me think about, this week's Boba Fett. Okay, you can get a lot farther with a tribe, you know, than you can get by yourself. And so, I kind of like sit back now and look at like some of the talent that has come through what Terminus Media in my store that I've helped cultivate. And these guys have gone on and worked for Marvel and DC and Dynamite and all these companies. And they basically got their
Nice.
start working on, projects and stuff with me and actually either working on characters that, I partially created or even, things, characters that other people created. So for me and stuff, I'm always about trying to help other people, take that next step. That's one of the reasons and stuff we started the Atlanta Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo was, to do a convention where like local creators, could, show off their work. And because I was like here in a mall and doing this show, we had thousands of people rolling through, and it gave them a chance to be exposed to a lot more people than they would have been, otherwise. So I'm all about
Nice.
trying to help other creators. It's not, I don't have that big of an ego. I would rather much be somebody who's like a team player. I just like being on the team. It's like, back when I was in shape and used to
Mm.
play basketball, I love passing the ball. You know, if it got to the point and stuff where I had to shoot, I would shoot. If ain't nobody else hitting shots, oh, I will try to take over. But most of the time and stuff, I'm just more happy just sitting there playing defense and passing the ball to somebody else.
Nice, nice. Well, to our two dedicated followers who watch this show every week, look, if you know somebody wants to start a comic book, go on down to Challenges Games and Comics. Tony Cade will hook you up. Tony, we appreciate you being here, man. We're gonna go on to the next portion of the show, but man, I appreciate you and the knowledge that you dropped. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being here.
Thank
Definitely.
you. Nice.
Thank you guys.
Early
So,
February, I'm gonna actually be up there. I'm gonna try to make it by your store, man.
All right, I'll be here.
Definitely.
Excellent.
you know what, Tony? I got to tell you, I've been to your store a number of times before I met you. So, because I stay in Decatur, so man, next time I come in, I'm definitely gonna come and say hi. Okay. Now, look, man, I was watching. I had no intentions on enjoying Peacemaker on HBO Max. I had no intentions at all of enjoying this show. And
I had watched
and
it.
look, from the opening theme to just the fact that James Gunn, I think James Gunn was allowed to do things with Peacemaker that he wanted to do with the Suicide Squad, but DC was like, no, let's not make it too edgy. Well, he goes all the way over on Peacemaker, and I am on board. I have to say, Peacemaker is so damn good. I don't know, has anybody else had a chance to watch
I
it?
haven't watched it yet. Mm-mm.
I
I,
watched the first three
I
episodes.
was Yeah, I was actively avoiding it, but then I said, you know what? Let me take a look at this. And
Now,
I
am
have
I
to
the
agree with
only
you.
one
I,
that
I think
thinks?
it's well done. Hmm?
Am I
Go
the
ahead,
only
John.
one though that thinks that Vigilante is a much better character than Peacemaker?
You know what? I
Ooh,
think Vigilante's kind of cool. They definitely departed from the comic book version of Vigilante, but
yes, they
I,
did.
I think he's pretty cool as kind of like the other side of Peacemaker. I'm curious to
Mhm.
see where he's gonna end up, down the line.
I would hate to get too much of Vigilante and get burnt out. I kind of like the fact that he just kind of pops in. He's just like, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, just making sure you're okay, a Peacemaker," and then kind of runs away. And I think that he he's like Rod said, he's the other side of Peacemaker. Where, well, you know what? Let's for the two of you who watch the show and may not have seen Peacemaker. So James Gunn, who wrote and directed the Suicide Squad, which was the kind of sort of sequel to Suicide Squad. So the original Suicide Squad with Will Smith. There was that, and then they came along and said, you know what, James Gunn, do some crazy shit with Suicide Squad, and then he said, sure. So they named it the Suicide Squad, trying to be edgy, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. So James Gunn has taken the character of Peacemaker from the Suicide Squad, and they gave him his own show on HBO Max. And when I tell you it is completely bananas, so Peacemaker's motto pretty much is, "I will kill anybody for peace," which in and of itself gives you an idea of what the character's
The
about.
oxymoron.
And in the show, we get to see Peacemaker, his special team. Now, I'm gonna tell you this: anything with Tasty from Orange Is the New Black, I'm gonna watch. I love me some Danielle Brooks, so yes, I'm watching Tasty do whatever. And the fact she gets to dance in the opening theme, come on, Tasty. But I'm sorry, I digress. But you've got
Oh, that's a whole
his
other subject.
squad,
That
which
opening
is,
theme.
oh man, oh come on, man. I can I just say I got that song on my Spotify playlist now, just because I was just like, man, this theme is so apropos to this series. But he has his own special team and covert operations, and he goes out. He's got assignment to kill people. Okay, blah blah blah. Standard superhero stuff. But what makes this stand out is that, of course, yes, he's an anti-hero, but John Cena plays him with such conviction. And
Mm.
I was never a big John Cena fan, but he throws everything into Peacemaker, and it's hilarious. And John Cena is a bona fide action star. So The first 3 episodes have been out on HBO. Next episode comes out tomorrow, as a matter of fact. But we're introduced to this world for Peacemaker, and like Rod said, Vigilante is his origin is tweaked completely from the comic books, but James Gunn
Yep.
makes it work. And James Gunn is his track record of taking raggedy D-list heroes and making them work is definitely on point. I'm hooked. Is it 6 episodes or 10 that it's supposed to be?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's 6 or
Okay.
10.
But yeah,
Did you catch
it's
the references to the Punisher in the first episode?
no, no. What do you say?
Yeah. There's a couple. It's like in the first 2 episodes, somewhere in there, where they mention um, talking to him, but really they're talking about some of the criticisms people have leveled against the character of the Punisher, about how he always
Okay.
seems to be killing people of color, or those are only bad guys he seems to go after.
Look, I will watch any show where the superhero
But he
says
said he
I
was
will
going to
try
correct that.
harder.
Yeah,
He said
he
he
did say he
said
was going to
he
correct.
said I'm gonna try. He said he would try and kill more white people, and that to me
Yeah,
was like that
he did say that with a straight
between
Oh
face.
my God.
between Tasty and yes, between Tasty and him saying he would try and kill more white people. I was just like, okay, you know what, you got me, John Cena. All right.
That's my
And
issue
So
I
with
I
love how
think
futuristic
Vigilante was
movies,
like, I
though.
can't be connected to you because of those rumors, you know.
right,
And then he was
That's
like,
my
I
issue
know
with
I,
right,
and
futuristic.
Vigilante was like, I mainly kill white people.
That's my issue with futuristic
right.
movies. You ever watch these futuristic movies like Mad Max and everything, and it's like out of 1,000 white people, there's only one black person that made it into the the wild wild west of the
Made it
future.
made it through the apocalypse.
You know what I'm saying? There's never black people in any of these apocalypse movies.
8 episodes, John.
Look, we 8 episodes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very good. So yes, if you get the opportunity, check out Peacemaker. I can't recommend it enough. And at least once a day, I go back and look at the opening title sequence because that is fantastic. I mean, come on, man. You gotta what did Tony said that deserves its own discussion. I mean, just to have them out there like that just Nicole,
A bad
your
TikTok
homework for
challenge.
yeah, right. Now look, okay, so Tony, I have to tell you that I'm something of a TikTok star, if you will. I have I have gained quite the following on TikTok, and I have contemplated doing that on TikTok. I have. My children have
I'm
threatened to take
waiting to
All
my
see
8
if
of
phone
people
his
away
doing
from
it
followers
me.
at
agree.
Dragon Con or at MomoCon. I know there's going to be groups of people doing it.
You know what? That is so true. Oh, Tony. Oh man, I got to do it now. My children have threatened to take my phone away, but I think I might. I think I might. My
Oh
wife is
goodness.
just like John. My wife literally said to me, "Why are you doing this?" Because I ain't got nothing else to do,
Yeah.
baby. I'm sorry. So yeah, but you're right. There will be people who will be doing that title sequence at these next couple of cons. Oh yeah, I gotta learn it
Hmm
now.
I'm gonna have to
Man.
check it out and see what it is.
Nicole, your homework is to go to YouTube and check out the title sequence for Punisher, and you will come back next week and talk about me. But yes, it's hilarious. Um,
Oh my god.
so the next subject. Now, I'm not a big Star Wars fan, so I haven't made Boba Fett appointment television. I don't think I've seen episodes 3 and 4, but the first two were
I
pretty
am.
solid. Oh Lord. So Nicole, you've been home sick. So
But
how
I've
you
been
feel about
watching.
Boba
I've
Fett? Are
watched.
we?
I am loving Boba Fett, and as we say it to the rest of the world, it's Boba Fett, not Bubba Fett, like he's some backyard yokel. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been having to correct people
Who said?
calling him
Who's calling him
Bub.
Boba Fett?
Man, every time I talk to somebody, oh, you watch that Bubba Fett? It's Boba Fett. You know,
I'm
I've been having
Nicole.
to
I'm sorry.
Nicole,
Did you move to Mississippi?
Nicole, that's
Did
the
you move to
country coming
Mississippi
out
or
of you.
something?
I'm like, what the heck is a
Bubba.
Bubba Fett? I'm like, look, he is not some incestuous backyard
I was
Incestuous.
there
backwoods
with Bubba
something.
Gump.
Now hold it.
West
Now hold it.
Virginia.
Hold it. Wait a minute. Now. What's his
it's just
origin
when I talk
again?
to people. It's just when I talk to people, it's like that's what they go to. They call him Bubba Fett. I'm like, this is not his name ain't Bubba. It's like it is
Well,
Boba.
now, uh, Tony, I think you
If
may
you
be
ever
onto something. You talk about incestuous, and in
His
the
father is his brother.
maybe the
His
name Boba
father is
Fett
his
is
brother.
appropriate.
nah, no, we won't put that in the mental
His
facility
father, his
there.
father is him.
Yes, there you go.
Right, exactly. So
Oh
He
Nicole,
is
man.
his father.
you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Bubba almost came out my mouth. So Nicole, Boba Fett, how are we feeling about it so far, Nicole?
I actually have enjoyed it. The only thing that they're not doing, they're not putting a lot of emphasis on like his fighting and so on. You don't even you see Slave One like maybe once or so far, which everybody loves seeing Slave One whenever he's flying it and so on. And can I talk about this episode that just did, or because it's got
I
spoilers
don't
in
care.
it?
The
Okay,
You
latest
just
know,
trying to
one,
make
we
sure.
the
the
spoiler
one that
show.
came out
You know,
today.
we don't give a damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he dropped another one of his or Fennec dropped another one of his seismic charges. And let me tell you something, that is a massive thing in the Star Wars community to watch where Slave One drops a seismic charge and it has that sound that it's like you go deaf and then you just boom. And that is like I'm here to tell you that is like a Star Wars fanatic me. My favorite thing. But sorry, I got excited, knocked my earpiece out. Anyway, but I'm telling you, but no, I am enjoying it and I'm enjoying his interaction with Fennec. I just wish there was a little bit more action, that's going on. They're doing a lot. You know what? Get that off the screen. Oh my gosh. Oh
That's
my
fantastic.
gosh. I need
That was
that.
from Uncle Percy.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, man, that's what people calling him is Boba Fett. I'm like, what the heck, man? I had to correct someone a couple weeks ago. But anyway, I just wish they kind of got a little bit more into his fighting skills because that was one of the things they honed in on in the Mandalorian between his style and the Mandalorian style. Because like Boba Fett is
Mhm.
like Boba Fett. It got me saying Bubba now. Boba Fett is like his style is more of like the old school style. You know what I'm saying? He don't have time for like you was talking about with the grandmas. He ain't got time for all the talking and stuff like that. I'm just gonna go ahead and take you out. Mandalorian was trying to finesse a little bit and so on. And no, we ain't got time for that. And I was really hoping to see more of it because it's not going to be that many episodes. I can't remember how many episodes. If it's going to be like 6 or something like that, episodes or something like that. So we're coming up on it being over pretty soon. But what are you gonna say? I thought
I
somebody
was
was gonna
gonna
say
say,
something.
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I
Hmm.
think I mentioned before in our group text, but you know, for him to be one of the most feared people in the galaxy as a bounty
Hmm.
hunter, he seems
Hmm.
to be getting disrespected on the regular.
A lot,
And
yes.
and
Hmm. Yes.
I feel like, if I'm Boba Fett and
Hmm.
I just shot Jabba's right hand man who thought he was gonna be in charge, and I'm taking over Jabba's
It's
operation,
you
and
know.
he says he's gonna rule out with respect.
Hmm.
That's fine, but you got to take your respect because
You
obviously
got to
these
be
guys
taking
aren't
heads
going to be
off.
listening to you.
You go, and that's what I'm saying. They actually made him soft in a way, like
The
so
first
far.
one to
Yeah,
act sideways, he's got to get it. He's got to get it
and
in a
I mean,
major way,
put it
so
like
people
this:
know I'm not playing.
he was portrayed harder in the Mandalorian than he is now in his own show, and I think that's where I kind of got a problem because I was expecting how he was in the Mandalorian to show up here, and so
Right,
on, and they got him kind of like kind of like pacified a little bit, just kind of, and Fennec actually is acting harder than he is to some
right.
degree, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I
she's
mean,
acting more like his
yeah,
actual, weapon.
absolutely. So I
Was
think I don't know if that's being done purposely by Disney, like if there's going to be something happening
yeah.
soon,
Mhm.
but Go ahead.
So my question, Fennec, that's Ming Na. That's her
Yeah.
character.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. All right.
Well, like I said, she's always been a cold-blooded assassin, though.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
she is.
And the thing about
Yeah.
it is and stuff in this series, you got to remember and stuff. This is still Disney now, so
Right.
they're
Right.
trying to make him be a little bit more of a hero and not really like a bad guy. So
Right.
it looks like if he has to take somebody out, he will. But
Yeah.
he's trying to like negotiate and work deals instead of just
Mhm.
rolling in there and just blasting everybody and saying, "Do what I say, or you're gonna die."
Right. And I get that. I completely understand it. I just thought that maybe, like he would end up in a little bit more of a, something interactions with someone else or such like that. But like I said, I don't know too because Disney now is very big on the women empowerment thing right now. So I'm assuming that that's kind of sort of a little bit of the play in this why Fennec seems like kind of because she's kind of like the breakout star in this. You know what I'm saying? When you think about it, she's kind of the one
Yes, she
ruling
is.
things a little bit, ruling it a little bit, and so on. So
Oh,
I
she
I
can
don't
break out
know.
all right.
You are a mess. So, but I don't know. I was looking for the Boba Fett that came with the Mandalorian. So I don't know. I do like
Well,
though this episode they did tie the Mandalorian in. It showed you when he found Fennec and when he made
Mm-hmm.
her he got her fixed up and so on like that. Because remember in the Mandalorian she didn't understand how she ended up becoming kind of sort of part robot and so on. And
Right.
this kind of tied it in. What's up?
do we get more Jennifer Beals?
Yes.
Yes, Lord. Okay, well, let me go watch these 2 episodes then. Because
Close up
she's
This
got to
too.
be
episode
like
was
100
great.
years.
This episode was
She's got to
good.
be
It
like
was good.
75 years old, right? Jennifer Beals is older than us, right?
No, she ain't that old. She ain't that old. Dude.
She's got to be in her 50s.
Well,
No,
let's see.
dude.
Let's
Jennifer
I
Beals
thought
is in
Flash
her.
said
She's in her 40s.
she is. You sure about that? Okay.
We all have the
Yeah,
back
it's
All right,
just
figure in
everybody,
our
Google
hand.
real quick.
I
Yeah,
already keep
look that up.
I keep my iPad with me. Yeah, so but
Because we
yeah, I
all,
mean this she what does it says? Yep,
She's in her. She's
1963. She's 58.
58. She's
yeah.
58.
There you
She's
go.
what
58.
She's
I
older than
say?
me.
What I say?
She's 58.
She older than
But
me?
she's beautiful though. She's a beautiful girl. I mean,
Okay,
she's,
okay. So hold on. So let me
Hey,
clarify that.
remember she does have a little melanin now. So
yes, that's right.
So let me
You're
let
right
me
about
ask a question.
Correct.
I knew Jennifer Beal. Is this? I thought it's. Are these two different people?
Flashdance.
Jennifer
Jennifer
Beals
Beals
was the girl
is
in
the
Flashdance.
yeah.
Oh, okay. See,
Yeah.
no. I'm thinking
Hmm.
when you said Jennifer Beal, I'm thinking Jennifer Beal, who. Well, actually, what's her name? Isn't she? Wasn't she the first Sue Storm in the with in the Michael
Think
Jessica
Chiklis?
Jessica
Alba.
Alba.
Jessica Alba.
Jessica Alba.
No, there's
Yeah,
another
that's a
Jennifer.
whole
Okay, I'm
whole
gonna cut
whole
off.
nother yeah. That's a whole other
Yeah,
person.
Roy, you go away. You just Roy. Jessica,
They
Oh
Jessica
wilding out.
goodness.
Alba, Jennifer Beal.
Oh
Yeah, Roy.
goodness.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
I
gonna leave this
mean,
alone because Roy's all confused. Okay.
but no, but
So,
she it's just I am really like I said, I'm really liking it. I just hope that and like I said, maybe they're kind of leading up to where, we're finally going to see Boba Fett become a badass, like we know him to be. But I'm just hoping that they bring it a little bit, like next episode, because it's going to be over soon. They're not going to have that many episodes for it.
well, I mean, I think that being someone who's not like a huge Star Wars fan, it's entertaining, and I think
Yeah.
that's all you can ask for at
Mhm.
this point. As long as
Yeah.
it does justice to the character and canon. Now, I
Mhm.
did think, like Rob was saying, I did think that they were trying to whoop his ass a little too much for him to be the baddest
Yes.
bounty hunter in the
Hmm.
galaxy.
Yes.
Because that
Well,
Absolutely.
they were
second
sending
episode, they all
squads
just
after her.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's just
Hmm.
like, and he had his two green bulldogs. What are those
Oh
things
yeah,
called?
those Gamorreans. The
Gamorreans.
Gamorreans. Hmm.
Gamorreans.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Hmm.
mean, he had help with them, and then Ming Na. But I mean, I was like, wow.
Well,
They
Nobody
kicking
really
his
likes
ass.
him, but I guess I understand why. Yeah.
so let me
Well,
jump
you
in on
know.
this
Hmm.
as the Star
Hmm.
Wars fan part of it as well. We have to remember this is also a part of Mr. Favreau resetting the universe, and part
Hmm.
of that of what they were doing with it is if you notice, he's changed the image of the Tuscans,
Hmm.
or AKA the
Yeah.
Sand People, because
They're
in
not
the
savages, right? Hmm.
right, which is what we were assumed they were based on the original prequels. And
Hmm.
so he's now coming in. That's another thing that he's changed. And Boba Fett was always he was one of those. He was the only direct clone from Django that didn't get changed. So he was badass.
Hmm.
And when he think about it, when he went into their camp, they was whooping his ass like, boy, sit down somewhere.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think what that did is that actually showed another level of growth for him after coming out, because in John, well, it's a spoiler piece, but that was one of the things that I
Sun's
noticed
coming out.
about this issue, about this episode. If you think about it, he doesn't even remember getting out of the Sarlacc's belly because he thought his armor was still there.
Hmm.
And
Right. No,
remember in
I did remember that. Hmm. That
yeah, and in the
the
first
Sarlacc or
Oh,
whatever
episode,
they
the
are.
yeah.
Jawas
Yeah.
took his
Yeah. Took
the
his gear.
Jawas took
Yeah.
his gear from him in the first episode,
Yeah.
because that's where the guy from the Mandalorian bought it from. And so
Hmm.
now we're wondering. That's what I'm wondering, because like she said, they did show that piece of the story. So
Hmm.
it's basically a flashback. They were flashing back to that part of the story. So I am interested to see if they're going to do the flashback to some, at least some part of him getting it back from don't take your helmet off, dude.
Right, the Mandalorian, because
Mandalorian, yeah,
Mandalorian.
yeah,
yeah, him.
well, because think about it, in the Mandalorian, remember that scene they had when they went to the planet where he put Baby Yoda up there to try to do his little meditation and so on, and they was fighting. Boba Fett was kicking ass like crazy,
Yeah.
and he had his gear on him. It looked like he looked like an old man with his belly sticking out, but he had his gear on him and so like that.
Well, he had
And
just
so
gotten it back. That's what he
he
had
had
just
just
gotten it
got it
back.
back, right?
Yeah.
And he sat there and he was kicking they ass, and that is what I'm saying. Like that's who I was waiting for to show up in this. You know what I'm saying? So, and at that point, Fennec had got already changed already by him. So that's what I'm saying. That's like a missing piece right there from when he showed up and came across the Mandalorian. So I'm thinking that's got to be a piece that they're gonna have to add into this series because remember he still has to get his uniform.
No, no, no. He has his armor in the current in the present day part of the story. That's one of the things
Right.
that's probably confusing a lot of people. They're doing all these flashbacks
No,
and
that's what
they're
I'm saying.
mixing them
I
up.
want to see that part though. I want to because right now everything is a flashback for the most part right now.
No,
Yeah,
but right.
in it. Mhm.
Remember, he when you first see the first couple episodes, he's in his armor. He has it.
Right, right.
So
But
they're
what I'm
just doing
saying is
flashback
the
stories.
character. I'm talking about his character. I'm talking about the fighting and so like that. I want to
Okay.
see that aggressive part, like when he was out there fighting with the Mandalorian. I want to see that
Oh,
in this series,
I don't think that's
and
who he is
that's what.
anymore. I think that's
Well,
part
I
of the
mean,
whole situation of who he is now.
and that's what I'm thinking. But I'm hoping that maybe because remember they about to go to war. Hopefully, they about to show something. So I
So
don't know.
I'm gonna leave the Star Wars talk alone, since John has his look that I used to have when he would start talking to Walking Dead. So
No, y'all going at it, Jack. I'm just sitting here
No,
like,
I'm just
man,
saying.
they
I
about
just
to
want to
they about to
see
pull out their
the old
lightsabers
school.
and battle each
You
other.
so silly. Oh, that's right. I got my lightsaber here, but anyway, I won't grab it. I'll leave it
I don't know. We don't. Hey, we got company
alone.
today, Auntie Nicole. You leave your toys in your dresser drawer.
My
So anyway,
lightsaber.
Roy, let's go to Rod's books real quick if you're still there, Roy.
Is he there?
There
Oh,
we
there
go.
we go.
Okay.
All right, here we go. We we doing cover roulette.
Pick one, anyone.
Pick
All right,
one,
let's
anyone.
start out with Eternals number 8. All right, it's a continuation of the new story arc with this volume of the Eternals, done with by Kieran Gillen, Issai Rabik, and Matthew Wilson. This is right after Thanos, along with Druig, schemes to become Prime Eternal. So he becomes elected Prime Eternal. He's now in charge. So, in true Thanos fashion, to no one's surprise, he kills Druig after Druig helps him become Prime Eternal.
Mm.
But they get resurrected. And there's a whole storyline and there's a whole revelation earlier on in the run as to what happens when an Eternal actually gets resurrected. But
Oh.
yeah, the Eternals are now living in Lemuria, which is one of the deviant cities, in an effort to try to get to know the deviants a little bit better. And there's an adjustment period going on because what happens with deviants is that they go through a thing called the change, and that they become more savage. And at that point, there's something in the genetics of the Eternals that kicks in and makes them want to kill them. It's kind of like
Wow.
an instinct thing. So
Wow.
they talk
Hmm.
about the ramifications of that, and Thena actually falling in love with one of the deviants, a deviant artist, as a matter of fact. So Thena is wrestling with the idea that one day her lover is going to go through the change and she's going to reflexively and instinctually try to kill him. And so there's that going on. And you get also another subplot of, as I mentioned before, you get the subplot of Thanos and what's going to happen when the other Eternals find out that he is now Prime Eternal. So they're going to be dealing with that down the line.
Let me ask you
But there's no,
something,
as I
Rod.
mentioned before, so far so good. It started out kind of slow, but then it picked up, and I'm noticing now that they're starting to kind of parallel the personalities of the Eternals to now the personalities that were shown in the film. So they're trying to somewhat try to link the two. It's very slightly.
Mm.
I
Let me
hate it when
ask
All
they do
you,
right,
that
so
with
the
the
move on
TV
to
X-Men.
show, the TV show, is it worth it? Because I have, believe it or not, I've yet to watch the Eternals, and because I just haven't had time. Is it
it's
worth it?
streaming now on Disney Plus.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but I'm
Yes,
saying, just should I take the time out, or is it worth it, or
yes,
no?
yes.
Okay,
But I have to tell you, it's not a typical MCU film.
right, gotcha.
But you should
Yeah,
watch
there's
it. Yes.
diversity. Ooh. Which all the fanboys
It's
got their panties in a bunch about.
yeah,
Oh
Ooh.
it was
God,
really interesting. It was really interesting the choices they made and for the film, but we could talk about that
right,
another time
right.
or
I
come
got
back
you.
Oh
to
my
that because we
God.
did discuss it at
Jesus
one point.
Christ.
We did,
Man,
yeah,
yeah,
we
But yeah,
did
that was
I'm
discuss it a
sorry.
interesting.
little bit. Mhm.
So
All right,
so
so
real
now
quick, real quick, I'm sorry to cut you off, Rod.
go ahead.
So Tony, do you read either of these books, like Avengers or Eternals, or being a comic book store owner, you've got everything at your disposal. Like, do you read any of these?
Are you asking me if I do my own drugs? Is that what you're asking? No.
Do you get high
Oh
off your
my
own supply?
God, old supply.
Uh, well, like I said, I'm a little bit behind on Eternals, but I am able to do stuff like this and say, hey, the latest issue is available right here at Challenges Games and Comics for issue 9 after you finish issue
There
8.
you
Yeah,
go.
You know,
it came
There
out
you
today,
go.
I think, right?
yep, came out today.
Yep.
Alright.
Okay,
So
go ahead,
now we
Rod.
have Avengers 750, and this I'm a little bit behind on this because it says 750, but that's the legacy numbering. In this run, it's 50, and right now they're on 52, I believe, which also came out today. But I wanted to pick this one up because I'll pick this one to talk about because it's the beginning of a new storyline with the Avengers, and that Doom is actually going through multiverses, taking out what were the Prime Avengers.
Wow,
And
really?
this is a pickup. This is a callback to earlier on in this run of the Avengers, where you have the original Prime Avengers of before prehistory times, where they were uh, fighting against forces in a brand new planet. So you had like a caveman version of the Black Panther. You had the Phoenix. You had All
Right.
Father Odin, and they were the Avengers, the Prime Avengers. So, yep, and that's a variant cover of the latest
Yeah.
issue.
Look
But
at that.
in this particular issue, Doom is getting together what he calls the universal or the multiversal masters of evil. And he's going through
Mm,
each one of the different multiverses, killing the Prime Avengers in order to prevent the Avengers from happening.
nice.
And so, what was that, Tony?
That's
Issue
Avengers
one,
number
right?
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
one. I'm
Avengers
sorry.
number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
is. That's a lot of money right there, buddy.
Yes,
Be
Lord.
careful with that. Yep.
Right.
So, so now this is the beginning of that storyline I mentioned before, and in the issues after that, you definitely want to pick up because they feature the Ghost Rider and the new Phoenix, who is Maya Lopez, the same Maya Lopez who was in
Mm.
Hawkeye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And she actually has her Phoenix Echo book. Newest issue is also out today.
correct. The new Echo Phoenix book is out.
So
Go ahead and
Echo
ask,
is
John. I see the
now,
look on your face.
yeah. So please, thank you for giving me that. So Echo now has the Phoenix Force within her.
Correct.
Hmm.
Okay.
I'm gonna have
You
to
The
know,
check
a
that
long
out.
Phoenix,
time ago,
the Phoenix staged a
I
contest
stopped,
to see who was going to
I,
wield it.
I stopped buying the big two a long time ago, because I felt that the stories were becoming more convoluted, and I also feel there's going to come a point where there are no more stories to tell. And after issue, like we just saw, that's issue 750, and none of these characters have aged, and none of these characters have moved
That's a superhero
from where they
power.
were. What right? It's just like, okay, so
Well, the
the
universe has been
characters.
restarted a
Wait a
couple
minute. You
times,
don't
though.
remember Heroes Reborn? All of that was reset.
New
Yeah,
52.
Oh, good Lord! Don't you ever bring that up again on this show.
Uh,
Franklin
Heroes
Richards
Reborn.
restarted the Marvel
yeah,
Universe.
they got all of those ones where, like with
Oh,
DC too, where they do the rebirth and everything, and everybody's back to being young
Yeah,
again.
DC resets their universe like every 2 3 years.
Yep.
every 2 years, yeah. It's
For real.
like, Heroes Reborn, Heroes United, 50, the new 52, the
Rebirth.
old 52 is new again. Yeah, 52 Rebirth. Whatever
He said it's,
for whatever
it's
reason,
so good.
DC is stuck on the word crisis and the number 52,
Oh my
and
gosh, they have
then
how many crises and
Marvel,
stuff, and
right, and then Marvel. I wish for the days, and this is why I now mostly collect smaller market comics, because the big two are stuck on, let's
yeah,
throw everybody in this story and then make people have to buy 7 or 8 books a week just to keep up with what's going on. And
just
it's
to
Yeah,
reboot
become
I
it,
hate that.
just to reboot it again, and come out with another one that just says rebirth or new or whatever in front of it to give
when
you the
Well, I
same
will
when
say
I
this
to
was
though.
a
bring
kid.
back.
Hold on, I will say this though. When I first started buying Crisis on Infinite Earths and I started seeing all the
Awesome
different
story.
heroes and villains,
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
made me want to kind of go look deeper into DC as a
Yeah,
whole and go back
yeah,
and see
exactly.
stories with those
Marv
people.
Wolfman and
So
George
it
yeah.
did,
Perez.
Hmm.
absolutely. I got a signed copy from George.
Hmm.
It
Awesome.
was one of my lifelong
Wow,
dreams. Yeah.
Well,
So
that's
I
cool.
wanted to read more about those people. So that kind of got me more into DC by reading Crisis on Infinite Earths. Um,
well.
and I also find it interesting that every time this universe is rebooted, the only person allowed to grow up is Dick Grayson. You think
And
about it.
look, Dick Grayson the
Right?
hoe. Dick Grayson the hoe. He's done it with every damn near every woman in the DC universe, hasn't he?
Oh my gosh. So does
I don't.
Captain
Ro-
Kirk.
Roy Speedy is trying to hang with him.
Captain Kirk
Oh,
Yeah.
too.
Roy
Roy
Harper
getting
was
it
trying to
too,
hang
huh?
with.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Speedy's getting
Mm-mm.
his
But
in
yeah,
too.
so Yeah, well, all right. But yeah, the big two have become a little bit too convoluted for me. And, when I was coming up, I used to love the X-Men. When I was coming up, the X-Men in their heyday with John Byrne and Chris Claremont, that
Yep.
was my shit.
Yep.
And now everything seems to be a bastardized version of what was going
Mhm.
on. And you've got books that will mimic the movies, and it's become too much. So yeah, I appreciate
Got
you
a bit of
keeping us
trivia for you.
abreast of the big two. Okay, what's good?
All right, what team book did Chris Claremont and John Byrne work on before the X Men?
Was it Marvel 2-in-1?
No,
Was it the Champions?
no. One more guess.
I don't think it was a Marvel book for some reason.
It was a Marvel book,
Was it? Okay.
and it's characters that you'll know, that the general public would now know.
I'm gonna hate myself when you say it, because then I'll be like, damn, I should have known this. One more guess.
Claremont and Byrne worked on it before X-Men. Hmm.
Come on,
I'm
Rod, help
trying to
me
think
out.
of what they.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Power Man and Iron Fist.
Okay.
Mm.
God dog it, man. You know
That's
what?
right. Because
And I
Danny
said,
Rand was
I said,
dating
I,
Misty Knight,
I said I was gonna say that,
and I think
and
Cyclops was dating Colleen Wing.
yes, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
See,
Yep.
that's why Tony's on this show. Um, but as we come to a close, Auntie Nicole, do we have any Hydro Betty coming anytime soon? I know you
Yes,
probably shut
we
it down.
will. Well, I had to, believe it or not, I got one plant. My eggplant is growing, but I had to actually get rid of my plants that I had such big plants. I had to get rid of it because once I got sick, I couldn't care for them. And so because I was
Right.
just literally like I was messed up. So right now I got some new seedlings and I'm doing some new videos that I'll be putting out pretty soon. Just kind of restarting everything for the new year.
You wearing your
Cool.
granny sweater while you're doing the new video?
No, just got my granny sweater on tonight.
Oh
So,
wow, wow!
it looks
Luke
Look
Cage,
at
pretty.
hero
that.
for hire.
Hero for
Hmm.
hire. 26. So, Uncle Rod, anything you want to leave us with tonight?
Just got some good news. A couple of my players who are going to be upcoming seniors next year already starting to get a couple of college offers, so that's really good.
Nice,
They're getting
very nice.
offers from
Hmm.
Jackson State, North Carolina,
Coach Prime.
Charlotte,
Hmm.
yep,
Nice.
UNC Charlotte, and University of Virginia. So things are
Nice.
looking up for my guys. So all they have to do is, continue to put the work in on the field and just let the film speak for itself, and they will be college football players this time next year.
Nice. Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Congratulations to them and you. Um, Tony, once again, thank you for coming on the show. Anything you want to leave our viewers with? All two of them?
Um, not really. Like I said, if you want to come by, see me here at the store. We're at North DeKalb Mall. We're open every day but Tuesday. Technically, I'm here on Tuesday, so we're by appointment. I'm basically here every day. I basically get 2 days off a year. That's Christmas and Thanksgiving. So I've already
Hmm.
taken my time off for the year. So come on
Hmm.
down, and you can check out our website at challengesgames.com.
Nice.
Nice. Challenges, games, and comics, North DeKalb Mall.
Sound like a plan.
You'll be seeing me soon. Roy, what we got coming up on the network, man?
The Urban Nerd Con.
Dun, dun, dun.
TheUrbanNerdCon.net. Go check it out.
UrbanNerdCon.net. Okay, cool. Well, that's the first I'm
The.
hearing about that, but fantastic. I'm
How is that
sorry,
the first time
the.
that you're hearing about it and it's been up for the last like 6 months?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because I don't pay attention, man. I'm old man. The memory's bad.
Wait a minute, you got to show the
So,
cool cover image for the con.
oh yeah, you do.
That I do. Hold on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're going to thank. That's one of the things that we can definitely thank our friend here for hooking us up with Joe for that. That Tadao
Nice.
There we go.
Look at that.
got the
Look at that.
crossbows leader Hood and our man the sheriff from the Law Keepers, Pyramid Comics. Yeah, yo. Ready to
Nice.
jump
Nice,
in.
nice,
Nice. In
nice. The
Alabama. It's
Urban
gonna be in
Nerd
Alabama.
Con .net. Yes, Alabama, where everybody pronounces it Boba Fett. So, for all the grumpy old nerds, Uncle Rod, Auntie Nicole, honorary Uncle Tony, Uncle DJ, get better soon, man. Uncle Percy, we'll
Yes.
see you, and Uncle Roy and me, Uncle John, we'll see you next week. Thanks again. Take care.